Hey, Mom, do you have some time to talk?
Hello, Karen. I'm with some friends right now. We're having brunch downtown. If it's about some nonsense again, can we talk later?
This is an emergency. I need a little bit of time, please.
Oh boy. Just because you're my daughter-in-law, it doesn't mean you can waste my time anytime you feel like it. I was just having a great time with my friends. You had to go and wreck everything. So, what's this emergency? And please make it quick. My friends are waiting for me.
Yeah, sure thing. I just got a call from my younger brother, who's living with my folks, as you know. He tells me that a real estate agent came to their house to do a survey of our property. Apparently, they were there to get an estimate of the value of the property. My brother had heard nothing about any survey and thought it was strange, so he pressed the real estate guy about who exactly ordered the survey and… well, it turns out that person was you, Mom.
Oh my, did they go and do that survey so soon? I told them to go there during the week when nobody was around. Those real estate guys. I wish they had at least called me in advance.
Huh, right. But did you really ask for this property survey? This isn't some mistake, was it?
No mistake, I ordered that survey. I was just curious how much that property was worth. Did they tell you what the estimate was?
No, they didn't, but what I want to know is why you even asked for that survey. I don't understand why you would need to know how much our property is worth.
Well, you have to know how much it's worth when it comes to sell. I figured that place is worth $200,000 for the property alone. So, how much did they say it was worth?
Huh? We have no intention of selling that property. That's my brother's place now, and they have no plans to sell it. And where did this come from? Why would we even have to sell it?
Come on, Karen. Your folks have already passed away, so I don't see any reason to keep the place, right? Better just to sell it.
Didn't I just say my younger brother and his wife are still living there? Besides, why do you get to decide whether we sell the place or not? You're just my mother-in-law, for God's sake. You didn't even have the courtesy to ask us first, and just went ahead and ordered the survey.
I don't like that tone of voice, Karen. Come to think of it, why do I even have to get your permission to take a survey? We're related. I'm your mother-in-law, and you are my daughter-in-law, which makes us a legitimate family.
What's that got to do with my folks' place?
You are really dense. As the daughter-in-law, your position in this family is way down there. So, that being the case, why do I have to ask your permission about every little thing? I'm tired of you always whining about my decisions. A very disrespectful daughter-in-law, I must say.
I have always been saying this forever, but the only person in the family that's always talking about status is you. Even Robert, your son. He's always saying we're all equal. We all have the same rights. And besides, what's my parents' property have to do with our relationship? This is my family's property and nobody else's, especially you. I don't care if you're my mother-in-law. Basically, you're just a total stranger in my eyes. You have zero rights to that property, and you have zero rights to sell it.
What the hell are you talking about? What my daughter-in-law owns is ours too. We're related. Have you forgotten? I'm free to do whatever I please with our property.
Do you truly believe such twisted logic will pass muster? And what's more, my younger brother inherited the house, so the house and property is his. That property is neither mine nor yours. Even if I sold that house for $1 million, all that goes to is my younger brother. Simple as that.
I went through all that trouble to get a survey of the place and to eventually sell it. So when that house sells, which I'm sure it will sell, well, I get all the money. Simple as that. I'll put the money to good use.
Are you out of your mind? Use your common sense. That is not going to happen.
Out of my mind? How disrespectful! How can you talk to your mother-in-law like that?
You're the one who's being disrespectful. If my folks were still alive, they would call you a lot worse. I mean, think about it. Trying to sell someone else's property? For God's sake! This could be considered a crime.
It wouldn't be a crime simply because it's my property. Oh, that property and that huge house. Way too extravagant for a young couple like your younger brother. They should move out to a small house in the suburbs. I will renovate that house and make way better use of it.
I can't seem to get through to that thick head of yours. I'm really starting to think you're a little funny in the head. No matter how much you whine about it, there is no way you're going to sell that place. You don't even have the rights to it. My brother has the deed to the house and he handles all the issues related to that place.
A deed to the house? So, you people had that hidden from me. From family. I want you to hand that over to me ASAP.
Hand it over? No, why would my brother even think about doing that? How many times do I have to keep repeating myself? No matter what you say, that property will not be sold, and even if it was, the money would definitely not go to you.
You live at my house, and you talk to me like that? That's the thanks I get from you?
Mom, you asked us to live with you. We were planning to rent a place in the city. We got married and you complained that you couldn't live alone, that you were physically unfit to get around. You made all these reasons, pleading and crying, insisting that we live with you. We had no choice but to live with you. Have you already forgotten the spectacle you made? It's a little too early for senility, don't you think?
I really can't believe the despicable tone you're taking with me. It's a daughter-in-law's responsibility to her parents. She should provide all she can for them. It's been true throughout history. If you're not happy about it, feel free to move out. You are not fit to be my daughter-in-law.
Yes, okay, sure. That's fine with me. We'll move out as soon as we can. If that's what you want, don't go crying back to us. I can no longer live with someone with a total lack of common sense.
I'm fine with that too. You're not a part of my family anymore. Good riddance. I'll have Robert find a much better wife. Not a rude and disrespectful person like you. Don't you dare return.
Don't worry, I'll never set foot in that dump again. Good morning, Mother. Just sending a note that we are completely moved out. This is the last time I'll be contacting you, so have a good life. Thanks for letting us stay with you. It was interesting. Goodbye.
Hold it 1 second, Karen.
Huh? Was there something else you wanted to say?
I don't care that you left, but why is Robert's stuff gone too? Where is Robert anyway?
Huh? Robert? Well, he's sitting right next to me. He's unpacking our stuff.
Are you serious? Are you making Robert help with moving? I can't believe you're making my son, the head of the household, do such menial work. Are you out of your mind? You left on your own. What's Robert have to do with this? He's divorced and you continue to make him do your unpacking?
We're not divorced. Robert moved out with me. We're going to be living together as husband and wife just as we had for the past 2 years. Did you really think we got divorced? All we did was change our address. Nothing has changed. We love each other, I assure you.
What? No, that can't be. I told you two to get divorced.
You did tell us to get out, but this is the first time I'm hearing about divorce.
Don't give me that. I want Robert back right away. He's my son.
And he's my husband. And anyway, Robert said that he wants to move out with me. I can't very well refuse. He said he'd rather move out than get a divorce.
You're lying. He would never say such a thing. I know my son. He would choose me over a little tramp like you. He's a kind and gentle soul. He would never hurt his mother. He would never choose you over his beloved mother. Are you nuts?
Well, then I wonder why he's here with me. I mean, I didn't tie him up and haul him over against his will or anything. I showed Robert the line conversation we had the other day. To be honest, he was pretty pissed off. He said you had no common sense, said you were a total nutcase. His words, not mine.
You're making that up. You probably brainwashed him to say that. You're probably holding him against his will. I always thought you were a little convening, no-good woman.
I had nothing to do with it. Robert decided himself. He even found this new apartment for us. I can understand how Robert feels. I mean, if my folks tried to sell your house, Robert would hate me. Oh yeah, and if he ever found out that you were always out drinking, of course, saying it's a brunch date with friends or some such nonsense, man, he would blow his top. You definitely wouldn't see him again.
How do you even know about that? I don't know what you're talking about.
I heard you were out yesterday too. The men's club. Place where all those handsome guys play host to older women.
Huh? Why do you even know about that?
I heard it from your friend from the bridge club. Mrs. Bartlett, was it? She said you and another lady are regular customers of this men's club. I hear you poured quite a lot of money into this place.
Mrs. Bartlett? Why did she tell you? Why do you even know her?
About a week ago, at one of those brunch meetings, she apparently heard you complaining that your daughter-in-law was against selling that property. She was concerned and contacted me. She also told me about the same time she was taken to one of those men's clubs despite saying she had no interest in such things. What's more, she said you were spending an exorbitant amount of money, handing out cash like there was no tomorrow.
Well, that was, you know.
I heard it was way more than you could afford. Way more than your monthly pension can cover. Hold it! Did you plan to sell our property so you could continue going to this club? Or maybe you were paying someone in particular that you were lusting after. Or maybe you're in debt to this place. Is that it? Are you up to your ears in debt to a men's club? My God! Wow, if that's the case, you must really be in financial trouble.
So what? What if I am in debt? This is my life. I can go out and do whatever I please. You, of all people, have no right to boss me around. If I'm in financial trouble, well, it's the daughter-in-law's responsibility to help me out. Don't you even understand that?
I'm sorry, but am I hearing you right? Can you differentiate between what's yours and what someone else's? I mean, a kindergarten kid would even know the difference. Well, continue playing your stupid games. Things will catch up to you sooner or later. Hem and haw all you like. We want nothing to do with you.
Huh? What do you mean by that?
We've completely moved out, so that means we won't be paying the utility bills for your place. That also includes living expenses. So you're going to have to go grocery shopping on your own. After all, we're not living there. Why should we pay any of that, right? Oh yeah, that also means you'll have to pay for all of it with your monthly pension. If you continue at this rate, you'll fall deeply into debt. That's a given. Oh wait, you're already deep in debt, aren't you?
Hold on now, Karen. You can't just stop paying all my expenses. There is no way that can be permitted. You're my daughter-in-law. You're married to my son.
Yes, so what? That's just a label, which you seem to use at any time it's convenient for you. Do you really expect us to pay your expenses? And we aren't even living there. Does not make a bit of sense in my opinion, right?
But then how am I going to live from now on? I'm deep in debt. I admit it. As you said, I'm in debt to that club. I just couldn't help myself. I can't pay that back with just my pension. Please, help me out here. What the hell am I supposed to do?
Oh, hey, I have a great idea. Why don't you sell your house? I mean, living in one big house all alone?
Yeah, but, well, actually, this house is in my sister-in-law's name. She has the deeds to the house, so I just can't sell it. My sister-in-law just lets me live here.
Oh my God, really? I had no idea. You were always going on about it being such a wonderful house and that you worked so hard to get it. I figured you owned it outright. I didn't have the faintest. Does that mean you own nothing? Your monthly pension is all you have?
Karen, I won't ask you to come back, but could you send a little, provide a little financial support? Not much, mind you, please. I assure you, I won't go behind your back again to sell that property, so...
Kind of hard to take you seriously after what you pulled. To be honest, we just moved out, so we're a little strapped for cash. So I'm sorry, but helping you is out of the question.
But please, I can't live on just a pension, please.
You dug this hole yourself. I really don't know what to say. You're simply going to have to dig yourself out. Oh God, is it already noon? I'd better get back to unpacking this stuff. Goodbye. After that conversation, my mother-in-law lined me non-stop, but I switched off my phone and just ignored her. Eventually, she just gave up. I heard from Mrs. Bartlett's that my mother-in-law stopped going to the men's club and focused on paying her debts. Apparently, her debts were considerable, and she just couldn't make ends meet. She eventually had to go crying to her sister-in-law. When sister-in-law found out that her debts were from going to some men's club, she really blew her top. She ended up paying off her debts, and then finding my in-law a part-time job to pay her back. Last I heard, she was working day and night to scrape by. As for me, maybe it was because of our no stress-free life. I got pregnant and we're expecting our first child by the end of the year. I feel a bit sorry for my mother-in-law, so I figured if she is able to pay off all her debts and show some remorse for her actions, then maybe I'll let her see her grandchild. Maybe it will do her a world of good to see her first grandchild.
Hey sis, long time no see. How many years has it been since you left home now?
Oh, I think I'm about to Oh, hi, Dana.
What's the attitude about all that? Still think you're hot stuff, do you? I'll be telling mom and dad about this.
The old run and tell your parents despite being a grown-ass woman trick. How I haven't missed you.
Oh, what's that? Are you scared? You know you'd be in heaps of trouble if I told mom and dad you were being horrible to me.
You act like you just revealed the mother of all trump cards, but you do realize I left home nearly 10 years ago now, right? Your threats have no power over me.
Huh?
Sure. Back then, I was a naive little kid with no life experience, and I was genuinely struggling with living on my own. The only reason your threats worked with me back then was because I was terrified by the prospect of having to make it completely on my own after mom and dad kicked me out. But luckily, I found a job the week before, which gave me a means of supporting myself. So I vowed to make it on my own without having to rely on my family in the slightest. 10 years down the line, I'm financially independent and happier than I've ever been. You do well to remember I'm not the same vulnerable little girl as I was 10 years ago.
Wow, you're so impressive, Rachel. Would you like a medal? Wait a second. When you say you're financially independent, no way! I'm actually surprised.
Why?
Isn't it obvious? How could a stay-at-home housewife be financially independent? That's not how it works.
Huh? Since when was I a stay-at-home housewife?
It's actually hilarious that you're claiming to be independent when you rely totally on your husband's salary to live. You literally wouldn't have food on the table if not for him. Start making sense, woman. You're cracking me up too much here.
Dana, what are you saying? Are you sure you're not making some kind of misunderstanding?
Huh?
You think I'm a stay-at-home housewife? Husband? Married? Wait, what? You think I'm married?
Well, you aren't?
No, I'm very much not. I can forgive you for misunderstanding since we haven't seen each other in over 10 years, but I'm single.
Whatever, you don't have to try and show off, sis. It really is pathetic how transparent you are. You're wasting your time, because I have incontrovertible proof that you're indeed married.
Huh? Proof?
I'm a little late coming out with this, because you distracted me. But now, on to the season, I messaged you in the first place, without further ado.
Damn, you mean you're not done yet? Lord, give me strength. I want to sleep soon, so make it quick, okay?
Then listen and listen good. Now you might want to sit down for this, but you see how it is? I'm pregnant with your husband's baby.
Huh, you're pregnant? With whose kid?
Your husband's, like I said.
But I just told you I'm single, so how is that possible? How can you be pregnant with my husband's kid if he doesn't exist? You're making some kind of mistake here, or maybe you're on drugs?
Drugs? How dare you? I most definitely am not. I'm pregnant, so the proof is right here in my belly.
Maybe you are pregnant, but that doesn't answer my question. Let me ask you once more, How is it possible that you're pregnant with my husband's kid when my husband doesn't exist? I'm single. S-I-N-G-L-E.
And like I told you, your husband's baby is in my belly. B-E-L-L-Y. Do you understand yet? Ugh, you're so dense.
I'm asking you because I don't understand. At the current point in time, I am husbandless. That means he doesn't exist, which means I'm single and that you, my darling, are crazy if you don't give up on whatever this is. I am S-I-N-G-L-E. Even if you are pregnant, which I don't doubt, your nickname did used to be the Village Bike after all, it's not my husband's.
Ugh, good grief. You just do not know when to give up, do you? I understand your heart must be full of negative emotions like frustration, rage, and jealousy right now to see your more beautiful little sister doing so well in life. But you need to be careful not to upset me. I have a little one to think about now, and stress is bad for the baby.
Believe me, there isn't an ounce of frustration, rage, or jealousy towards my imaginary husband's kid in my whole body. I'm just annoyed because I feel like I'm talking to a brick wall. Okay, let's hear it. What's my husband's name?
You actually want me to say it? What a masochist. I guess I'll say it if you really want me to. Your husband's name is Toby.
Toby?
Why would you want to hear me say his name though? Isn't this painful for you? This isn't healthy, sis. So why don't you just stop before you get hurt again?
I'm not hurt, just indescribably confused. Who's Toby?
Huh?
If I recognized the name, I thought I might be able to ask my friends if they knew anything, but I've literally never met anyone called Toby in my entire life.
Huh?
I have no idea what kind of mammoth misunderstanding you're in the grips of here, but I strongly recommend you reinvestigate the identity of the father of your child. Goodbye.
Well, would you look at that? Turns out it was your husband after all. Why did you lie?
Excuse me?
It was Toby. I knew it.
How many times do I have to tell you I don't have a husband?
I hung around outside his house for a little while today because what you said had me so confused, and lo and behold, you come walking out.
Huh?
Which got me thinking, why would you be so desperate to deny it, to the point of telling barefaced lies and claiming you were single? And it finally dawned on me, I think I get it now, because you can't bring yourself to move out of this huge luxury 5-bedroom house after working so hard to move in there with him.
Huh? Luxury 5-bedroom house? I didn't think it was possible, but I'm even more lost than before.
I hate to break this to you, Rachel, but I'm pregnant with your man's baby, which means I'm gonna be moving in so we can live together as a family, which means I'm so sorry, but you've gotta go. So if you don't mind, I need you to accept your fate, accept that your more beautiful sister won, and get out of my house.
But...
The jig is up. You can't bend and distort the truth anymore, because I outsmarted you. I bet you didn't expect me to wait outside his house, did you? I'm a genius. Boom! Divorce him, pack your things, and leave.
For the millionth time, I'm single.
Seriously? Are you still playing this game? Even though my clever investigate efforts expose the truth to the light of the day? You know it's a waste of time, Rachel. Why are you doing this? You, seriously, do not know when to give up.
Well, I think you're right when you say the truth has been exposed to the light of day.
And so you admit it then?
I admit nothing.
Huh?
Hey, can you do me a favor? Would you mind putting your lunatic crusade against me on hold for a little while? I need to check something.
Huh? Check something? What is it?
Dana, I finally know who this Toby guy you're convinced is my husband is.
Huh?
I had a sneaking suspicion this might be the case, so I did a few checks. Can you just confirm something for me? That house that you think you saw me coming out of, was it the one recently got built on Apple Lane behind the highway?
Aha, that's right. So you knew exactly what I was talking about all along. Why even bother playing dumb? I get that when you preserve what little of your pride and dignity you have left, but this really would have been easier for everyone if you just admitted it straight away. How tragic! I could already be living my dream life of luxury and glamour as Toby's stay-at-home housewife, barefoot and pregnant in his kitchen, if not for your stubbornness.
It's true, I did have a vague idea of what you might be talking about. But I have a duty of confidentiality that limits what I'm able to discuss due to my job. I am, however, willing to have this discussion within the range of what I just got permission from the boss on. Now, the key point here is that the married couple living in that house have both long been retired.
Huh? Then Toby must be their son.
Wrong. Their only son lives abroad and hasn't been home in a year.
What?
The only reason I go there a couple times a week is for my job as a visiting carer.
Huh? Your job?
That's right. I work for a company that provides care services to the elderly.
Wait a second. This can't be. If what you say is true, then who the hell's kid am I carrying?
Apparently, this Toby you keep mentioning is their personal driver, who also happens to be living on their sofa after falling on hard times.
Their driver?
I've never really spoken to him beyond the basic pleasantries, so I didn't realize who you meant until I stopped and thought about it for a while. Every time you meet him, he has you climb through a window, right? Did you never think that was strange?
No, he told me all the doors were broken. Plus, I thought it would be better that way, since we could get in trouble if you found out what we were doing. I didn't mind climbing through a window if it meant we could be together.
The obvious explanation to anyone with a brain being that he was sneaking you into somewhere you weren't supposed to be, because it wasn't his house.
Seriously? Rachel, what do I do? What do I do? Toby's real wife just sent me a horrible letter demanding compensation.
Huh? Ah, I see. What was it again? He had to move out for a while because their house got flooded, right? There was no more room at her parents' place, so Toby moved in with the Jeffersons. Which is when you got your claws into him and you had your affair.
I had no idea he had a wife.
That's interesting. I got a different impression back when you were bragging about being pregnant with my husband's baby. Not only that, but they had kids, didn't they? Damn it, Dana, what have you done?
If he's not your husband, I don't want him.
Huh?
I only stole him because I thought he was your husband. He's useless to me now. I thought it was so unfair that you got to live in that huge house with him. There was no way I was gonna let you carry on getting away with it. But if he's not your husband, I'm not interested. He's welcome to his wife. I don't care.
Dana, I think it might be a little late for that.
Huh?
I spoke to Mr. Jefferson, the actual owner of the house, who's finally aware of everything that's been going on under his roof now. You announced the pregnancy to Toby at the same time you handed over a signed set of engagement papers and declared your undying love for him, right? This all happened the day after his divorce with his ex-wife was finalized. Of course, because why waste time? Anyways, Mr. Jefferson said he was so ecstatic, he took the marriage papers down to the local office straight away with a smile on his face and a spring in his step.
No way!
Mr. Jefferson also fired Toby as their personal driver as soon as he found out what he'd been doing.
Fired? Why?
Because he betrayed their kindness by sneaking his mistress in through their window to have a sordid affair in the room they invited him to stay in because they felt sorry for him. Mr. Jefferson might be kind, but he doesn't tolerate disrespect. And to be honest, Toby is lucky. He's also ex-military, and his wife tells me he was known to get violent with people back in the day. Oh, and by the way, obviously it wasn't my fault, but the company understood that continuing to work there could be difficult for me, knowing that one half of the disgraced couple was my little sister. So after lengthy talks between me, my boss, and the Jeffersons, out of consideration for me, it was decided that I wouldn't be their designated carer anymore and would go somewhere else.
Oh my!
The result being that I'm now responsible for looking after one of Mr. Jefferson's old friends, who, funnily enough, just so happened to be considering hiring a carer. The company are happy because they gained a handsomely paying new customer, and I get to carry on with my job as a visiting carer in the same capacity as before, with a little change of scenery.
This can't be happening. Are you telling me that despite the fact I'm pregnant with some unemployed homeless guy's kid and we're even about to get married, you benefited in some way? I don't understand how you have. But that's what it sounds like, and it's not fair. Not fair!
Are you serious? You don't have a leg to stand on here. None of this would be happening if you hadn't stolen my imaginary husband. Mistaking Toby for the owner of the house, mistaking me for Toby's wife, it could have all been prevented if you'd just done your research properly before charging in with your legs wide open, or at the very least, asking me first. I would have just told you, you know?
But if I'd asked you, there was a chance you might figure out my plan to steal your husband.
That's why your life's at rock bottom, and that's why there's no light at the end of this tunnel. Are you at least self-aware enough to understand you dug your own grave?
No, I can still fix this. I know. I'll give Toby to you.
Huh? You couldn't possibly mean. You want me and Toby to get married and raise the kid currently growing inside your belly together? You couldn't possibly mean that, could you?
That's right. Phew! I'm so glad you understand. Thank you, sis. I was starting to worry there. Okay, well now, you just have to charm him. You can do that, right?
That's definitely not going to happen.
What? Why not? You have a right to protect me. I'm your little sister. That's what sisters do. You should be looking out for me. The only reason you exist in the first place is to help me when I'm in trouble. What's the point in you being around otherwise?
I got married 3 days ago.
Huh?
Me and my boyfriend, a colleague from work who I've been dating for 5 years, went 3 days ago to hand in the marriage registration papers together.
What the hell? You had a boyfriend the whole time?
Yep.
But that means you lied. You said you were single. What am I supposed to do now about my marriage to Toby?
You're the one who married him in the first place, so you could, I don't know, get out of your own mess? None of this has anything to do with me.
But don't you feel bad for me? This is awful. I'm a victim here.
In a sense, you are a victim of yourself. If you want a divorce, then tell him you want a divorce. It's really that simple. The kid you're pregnant with, too? Decide what you're gonna do between yourselves. It's time you stop trying to run away from the consequences of your action and faced reality, Dana.
Why won't you help me?
Do I really have to spell it out?
How am I supposed to know if you don't tell me?
Okay, have it your way. Because it's not my problem. It's your mess, and it's up to you to get out of it.
Huh?
Stop trying to pin the blame for your crazy, selfish behavior on other people, and stop trying to escape responsibility for once in your life. Wipe your own ass.
Oh my god.
Goodbye.
No, wait. Don't go. Please, Rachel, I'm begging you.
Later on. You might be wondering what our parents were doing while all this was going on. Apparently, my sister had told them that she'd stolen my rich husband. I don't know what came over them, but they were so excited that they spent a huge chunk of their pension on a celebratory party, thinking Dana would be able to cover it with her new husband's money before long. They started seriously panicking when they realized she'd made a huge misunderstanding the whole time and would never see that money again. By the time Dana and Toby went to take refuge at their place, they were already gone. Why? Because by then, they were knocking on the door of Toby's parents' house. Toby's parents were overjoyed by the news that they'd be getting a grandson, but they were disgusted with their son for having an affair and vowed to instill some morals in him by any means necessary. Last I heard, his dad had him up at 5 a.m. every morning to undergo a rigorous moral education. Apparently, he also works 3 separate jobs now because he's so overwhelmed with debt due to all the compensation he owes his ex-wife, and after being abandoned by all his friends, has no one to turn to. After sending me one last demoralized message, my disgraced younger sister completely vanished, and I never heard from her again. It never should have come to this. My life was meant for the better.
Phoebe, it's about time you start listening to me. If you don't start working, I'll be moving in with you and my son. If you don't stop lazing around and getting a job, I won't move in with you. But you can start sending me $750 a month to look after me. I'm not getting any younger, you know. If you don't promise me one way or another, I'll see to it that your wedding to my son Kevin next month gets cancelled. You hear me? Cancelled. So what's it going to be, young lady?
Ugh, are you really harping on about this again? I made this clear before, but it didn't seem to go in. So allow me to repeat myself. You have no right to cancel my wedding. As for sending you money, I've discussed the matter at length with Kevin, and he says I don't have to.
Fine, I'll move in with you both then.
No, you won't. I'm still working just like always.
Huh? I thought you'd been at home this whole time since you got engaged 3 months ago. Basically, you're using the wedding as an opportunity to become a stay-at-home housewife so you never have to work again. You lazy daughter of a garbage man. Don't think you can lie to me, young lady. Your house is a 3-minute walk from mine, so it's very easy for me to check whether you're trying to pull the wool over my eyes.
No, I explained this to you before the engagement too, but once again, it seems like it was in one ear and out the other. I'm a freelancer, which means I can work wherever I like. From home, in a cafe, in a restaurant. I've never had to go into any kind of office, so you wouldn't necessarily see me leave the house. I do sometimes to go meet up with clients from time to time, but the same still applies.
I see. So you're doing perfectly fine for money then, are you? In that case, you're to start sending me $750 a month like I asked. Forget what Kevin says. I'm your mother-in-law, and it's your job as a wife to do as I tell you. My word is final.
Forgive me, I have an online meeting starting soon.
Huh? An online meeting? What's that?
Goodbye.
How dare you ignore the requests of your mother-in-law? It's looking more and more likely that you're going to turn out to be a problem bride. You're going to have to do something about this attitude of yours if you're going to marry my son. This just won't do.
A few moments later.
Kevin, listen, son. I need to talk to you about something very important. It's about Phoebe. Are you sure she's really the woman you want to marry? You only get to do this once. Are you sure you've really thought it through?
Huh? Mom? Why are you asking me that all of a sudden? Obviously, I've thought it through. We're engaged. I love her and want to spend my life with her. Why can't you just be happy for me and accept that?
I'm just worried you might be making the wrong decision, that's all. What kind of mother would I be if I didn't worry about you, Kevin? Even if it comes to divorce, I want you to know that I'll always be here to help you find a more suitable wife. Never forget that, honey. Please, won't you just rethink things one last time? Do it for me? It would fill my old heart with joy if you canceled the engagement, son.
Wow, you have got to be freaking joking me. Who actually says that to their own son? No way. Wait a sec. You're not bullying my fiancé, are you? Have you said anything to her?
Huh?
Dad and I have warned you countless times by now, but I know how stubborn you can be. You seem convinced she's bad news despite the fact you've barely even spoken to her. Why can't you just give her a chance? In any case, you need to stop acting like this. You better not be saying any of this to her, because that's bullying, plain and simple. I'll never forgive you if I find out you have. And really, Mom, is this the kind of person you want to be?
What are you talking about? The person I wanna be? No, Kevin, you're the one who needs to know what kind of person Phoebe is. You need to stop lying to yourself and accept her true colors. If you have until next month's wedding to back out of this, so how about you try and considering yours and this family's reputation for a change and do the right thing? That girl has a black heart. I want you to start paying attention to the way she behaves, the way she spends money, and what she does on a day-to-day basis. You'll be amazed by what you notice if you stop burying your head in the sand.
I see. Sorry, Mom. I have to get back to work now. Catch you later.
2 days before the wedding.
Phoebe, are you cheating on my son? I saw you the day before yesterday. That was no way that was a regular shopping trip with you dressed in that suit.
You're right, it wasn't a shopping trip. I had an in-person meeting with a long-term client who's been giving me work since before I can remember. So, naturally, I wanted to look the part, which is why I wore my suit.
Aha, I've gotcha. You said you worked from home, caught in a lie. So you're having an affair with your client?
No! He asked me to meet him at his company office, so business wear was the obvious choice, which is why I went in my suit. Pajamas would have been a little rude, don't you think? Anyway, the point is that it was just a work meeting and nothing more.
But it is the truth. I wonder.
It's the truth. I have another work meeting to attend soon, so if you'll forgive me.
If you're telling the truth, you won't mind proving it, will you? Go on, I'll wait. If you can prove it, I'll believe you, and me and you can forget this ever happened.
10 minutes later.
Well, would you look at that? The fact you still haven't provided me with any proof of this work meeting of yours means you must be cheating on my son, you filthy harlot! I'm having the wedding cancelled, you hear me? Cancelled! I suppose I'd better deliver Kevin the news too. Oh dear, this is gonna crush him. I hope you're proud of yourself, woman. It's a shame I have to do this right before the wedding, but at least we finally got to see your true colors. Phew! Talk about dodging a bullet! Kevin, I have proof Phoebe's cheating on you. You have to cancel the wedding this weekend. Be a darling and call it off as soon as you get this, won't you? They could charge you extra if you leave it too long. I can't believe it. Talk about cutting it close. You were days away from making the worst decision of your life. I'm just so pleased I found out. Even if it was days before the wedding, I know it's gonna be hard on you canceling everything you had planned, but it's better this way. At least now you can take her to court for compensation. That should go some way to ease the burden. Ah, yes, that reminds me. What with the wedding been cancelled now? You won't have any plans this weekend, will you? I think we should go on a holiday to celebrate. How does California sound? I've always wanted to try hot springs there. I hope we're able to find somewhere to stay at such short notice. Don't worry, of course I'll book yours and your dad's spots too. How long has it been since we all went on a family holiday together? Oh, I'm so excited. It's gonna be great.
The morning of the day of the wedding.
Kevin, haven't you arrived at the inn I booked yet? We've had the reservation since yesterday, so I'm worried about you, honey. Why aren't you responding to my texts or answering my calls? The view from the open-air jacuzzi attached to our room is to die for. This place is incredible. I feel like a queen. Ah, there you are. You had me worried sick, young man. What time will you be getting here?
You're free to enjoy the Californian hot springs by yourself.
Huh? What?
I'm in the middle of my wedding right now.
What?
The service at the church just drew to a close, which means we're officially married. We're just about to head to the banquet.
Wait, what? Are you telling me you didn't cancel it like I told you?
Obviously not. I had no reason to do that.
But I told you about Phoebe's affair. Oh God, did you forgive her?
Affair? You mean that thing about seeing her out in town wearing a suit?
That's right. She tried to pull the wool over our eyes by playing it off as some kind of work meeting, but she was meeting up with her lover. I just know it.
I was with her at that work meeting.
What? You were?
I told you before that we originally met through me being one of her regular clients, right? I'd offer her translation work, which she, being a freelance translator, would accept. Well, my company had a fresh project for her, so it only made sense that I tag along for the meeting to ensure she was fully up to speed on and understood the project specifications. Surely you're not going to carry on clinging to this insane affair theory when her own husband is giving her an alibi. Can we just put this to bed already?
What the? But I was certain.
If you're so against our wedding that you go to such ridiculous lengths to try and stop it from going ahead, I'm actually glad you're not here. I have no interest in forcing you to celebrate something you don't feel you can support.
But Kevin...
The banquet's about to start now, and hot damn, the pizza looks delicious. So if you'll kindly excuse me.
After the banquet.
Phew! Thank goodness I made it. I wasn't able to have your wedding cancelled due to the affair in the end. But when I realized there was one more reason it shouldn't go ahead, I'm so pleased I got on the first flight home to crash it. I've got you all figured out, Phoebe. The only reason you're interested in marrying my son Kevin is because you're after his huge salary, isn't it? The jig is up, young lady. I can read you like a book, so you may as well just admit it and make this easier on yourself. Thank God I made it in time to get to the banquet hall and get up on stage to grab the mic off the host and tell the whole world your true intentions. Everyone sees your true colors now, and we're all disgusted with you. Disgusted.
Listen, Wilma. What exactly gave you the idea that the only reason I'm with your son is because I'm after his money?
You told me you work from home. I made it very clear that if you were working, you had a duty to send me $750 every month to help with my living costs. The fact that you kept stubbornly refusing made it as plain as day that you were poor. Even if you have a job, I only had to put 2 and 2 together to realize you had your sights on my poor son's wallet. You can't deny it now. I know everything, and there's nothing I can figure out, because I'm smart, very smart. This was my last chance to save my son's future before any hope he had at happiness was destroyed forever. I did what I had to do and exposed your true colors to the world at your wedding banquet. You hate me, but if you search deep in your heart, you'll know this is what's best for Kevin. I might have been thrown out by security, but I did what I came to do. So what happened after that? Surely the wedding got called off when everyone heard what you're really like.
I see. You're right, I'm pleased. With this, we can finally divorce now. Thanks for giving me a concrete reason to go through with the divorce. I've been wanting to do this for a while.
Huh? Putting on a bold font, are we?
No, that's what your husband just told me to tell you. He stood right next to me.
Huh? My husband? What?
We finished the banquet as planned after you left. The food was delicious and everyone had a great time. Your little interruption actually made it more memorable in a sense. Me and Kevin have no intention of divorcing.
No, you have to be joking me.
A few days later.
Why am I the one getting divorced here? Kevin, how could you stand by and watch while this happens to your poor mother? You're horrible. I've been telling you how awful that girl Phoebe is for what feels like forever now, but you never listen to me, not even once. Is this what I get for giving birth to you, for raising you?
Your accusations were all nonsense, just like everything else you said about my wife.
Nonsense?
I've already explained why this supposed affair is a load of rubbish. So I'm not going to go out of my way to explain it again if you don't understand by now. But the idea that she only married me simply because she wants my money is pure fantasy, plain and simple. It's honestly the most ridiculous thing I've heard in my whole life.
Which part is fantasy?
Phoebe makes $150,000 a year.
150K?
Basically, she brings in 4 times as much money as me.
4 times?
I won't go into too much detail, because she probably wouldn't want me revealing her private work details. But she's one of the top performers in the translation industry, and is hugely popular with a lot of very influential people. To put it simply, she's the best at what she does.
If she's that rich, why did she always refuse to send me money?
You were already in the wrong at the point you decided to beg my wife for money.
What?
I mean, seriously, who pesters their son's wife for money? Who actually does that? Have you no shame? Let's face it, the only reason you were so intent on her being the devil and so committed to destroying her reputation is because she had the guts to say no to your absurd demands.
But...
No buts! I'm cutting you out of my life once and for all!
What? No, please!
To tell you the truth, we already moved house.
You moved house? Where to? Tell me your address at once. This can't be happening. Please, son, don't do this to your poor aged old mother. I can't get by without you. Won't you reconsider? Besides, did you only just move right before the wedding? It was only a 3-minute walk from my house. The location was perfect. It's barely been half a year since you moved in. Why would you leave already?
That was just an apartment Phoebe had been renting since before we met. I was only staying there with her temporarily until we found somewhere new to start our married life in.
Oh my goodness.
It was only down to a coincidence that she happened to have an apartment near your house in the first place. Funnily enough, it was actually where we got onto the topic of how close together our houses were after linking up for a work meeting one day that we started discussing our private lives and grew closer.
But I only started seeing her around town around the time you two got engaged.
That's probably just because you didn't know her before then. You were hardly going to recognize a stranger, were you? I bet you walked past each other dozens of times. It was the same for me, too.
Really? Could it be?
Looks like we went off topic. To get back to the point, I'm cutting you out of my life forever, Mom! I'm not going to tell you where we live, and I'll be taking every last possible measure to ensure you never find our address.
Wait, please! Your father seems ready to divorce me, Kevin. I can't bear to lose you too. Please, don't do this to your poor aged mother.
It's not that Dad seems ready to divorce you. He absolutely, beyond any shadow of a doubt, is going to divorce you. With 100% certainty. He literally could not be more committed to getting rid of you. It's not for me to get involved in that, so just make sure you do what his lawyer says.
Kevin!
If you'll excuse me, Phoebe and I are going out for a meal.
Wait, no! Please, don't leave me, son! I'm begging you!
I'm blocking you.
Later on, apparently my mother-in-law had always been prone to making preposterous misunderstandings. You might be wondering why her husband would marry someone like that in the first place, but Kevin said she'd always made lighthearted, self-deprecating remarks about her crazy side, which probably caused him to drop his guard. To everyone's surprise, she actually admitted fault after the divorce had been finalized. "I'm sorry I've caused you so many problems." So with that, Wilma was officially a divorcee. She'd been a stay-at-home housewife until then, which meant things got a heck of a lot tougher for her after being abandoned by her husband and son. Now she had to support herself. She burned through the alimony money she got in the divorce in a heartbeat, and before long was staying with her little brother and his wife as their live-in parasite. Within a week, she started bullying his wife, but her little brother found out almost immediately, and with that, she was back out on the streets. Due to her total lack of work history, the best job she could find was in a supermarket, and her salary is about as low as it could possibly be. Last I heard, she was living in a store cupboard at work. Something tells me that personality of hers is gonna see to it that she remains lonely and isolated until long after she retires. Maya, can you talk? I need to ask you something.
You need to ask me something? Me? What's gotten into you?
Why? Why can't I ask you something? A mother wants to ask her daughter something sometimes.
Maybe if we were a normal family, but I don't remember you ever treating me like I was your daughter. You've only ever liked beautiful Rebecca, always spoiling her. You never took care of me and kicked me out as soon as I graduated high school. Why wouldn't I be apprehensive when all of a sudden you tell me you want to ask me something? And especially when you want to talk the day after I introduce my fiancé to you guys. What are you planning?
You've always had such an ugly personality. Fine, I'll be direct. You need to let your younger sister marry your fiancé.
What?
Yesterday, you came by the house to introduce us to your fiancé, yes? His name was Ryan, I think. It was love at first sight for Rebecca. She's saying that she's going to marry Ryan. So you need to break off your engagement. You're the older sister, so you need to let your younger sister have him.
What? What are you saying? I need to let her have him? Ryan's not a toy. He's not an object I can just give to someone else. Are you crazy?
But Rebecca says she wants Ryan. Your father and I think that rather than Rebecca marrying someone we don't know, that we would feel much better if she marries someone we know is marriage material.
That's not the issue here. Don't be ridiculous. Why do you want to take everything away from me? Like my toys and clothes and even my birthday presents. Rebecca has always been given all of my belongings, and I've been told to just deal with it. Now you want me to give her my fiancé? I've had enough of this. Ryan is my fiancé. I'm not giving him to Rebecca.
What are you getting all upset about? He's still marrying someone in our family. And rather than marrying you, whose face and personality are average and boring, I'm sure he'd want to marry your younger sister, who's smart and beautiful and caring.
Do you have no regard for other people's feelings?
I hear what you're saying, but it's already been decided. Your relatives and I got together last night and talked about it. And we decided that you and Ryan would be breaking off your engagement and Ryan would be marrying Rebecca. He'll be taking our last name and you'll be marrying your cousin Evan instead.
What? Why are you deciding who I'll be marrying? Can you not try to control who I'm marrying? And isn't my cousin Evan that 50-year-old who quit his job and is a deadbeat now? Telling me to marry him is the same as telling me that I need to be his caretaker and provide for him financially. No, that is not going to happen.
Come on, don't be selfish. It's already been decided. So just stop fighting it and let Rebecca have Ryan. And you marry Evan instead.
Who's really being selfish here? You really think you can tell me all this and I would say, Okay, Mother. I will never give you Ryan.
Do you really think it's okay for you to talk to me like this? I think you'll regret acting this way.
What? What are you saying?
You just wait. I will make sure the two of you break up.
Hello? Is this Maya's mother, Sharon? This is Maya's fiance, Ryan. I'm texting you from Maya's phone.
Oh, hello. Is this Ryan? Thank you so much for reaching out. Have you decided to marry Rebecca?
Please cut the crap. I have no intentions of ever breaking up with Maya. Nor do I have any plans of marrying Rebecca.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe you're saying this. Rebecca is so much kinder than Maya. You know, you'll be so much happier if you marry Rebecca, right?
Please don't think you know what makes me happy. Who do you think you are? And personally, I think that Maya is so much more attractive than Rebecca. Rebecca is so vulgar and impolite. She can't even begin to compare to Maya.
What are you talking about? If you would just meet Rebecca, I know you'll see how wonderful she is.
I can see we're getting nowhere with this. So let me be direct. The reason I'm texting you from Maya's phone today is to talk to you about you and your family prank calling Maya.
Prank calling? What are you talking about?
Playing dumb will get you out of this. I know that you and your relatives have been calling Maya Sal and her work over and over and saying quit your job or break off your engagement. And some days you've been calling over 100 times. And you've gratified Maya's apartment with the same message and thrown raw eggs at her apartment. You've also been stalking me. Rebecca's been sending me lewd photos with messages telling me how great she is. I want to talk to you today about all this.
We would never prank call or stalk anyone. All we're doing is showing Maya how selfish she's being, because she won't give you to Rebecca. So I'm having all of my relatives help. And the pictures of Rebecca we sent you was just because we want you to get to know Rebecca better. And now that you know how beautiful she is, I know you'll change your mind.
Actually, it creeped me out so much I hate her even though I've never talked to her. Everything you've done and are doing is extremely troublesome. Do you have any intentions of stopping?
Of course we won't stop. We'll keep doing it until you marry Rebecca and Maya marries her cousin. I need to teach Maya that she can't be selfish.
I see. Okay, then we'll be suing all of you.
What?
You and your relatives have been calling Maya over 100 times, telling her to break up with her fiancé, and leaving the same message in her mailbox and writing it on her door in permanent marker, and pounding on her doors and walls and throwing raw eggs at her apartment. All of this has caused Maya great emotional distress. So we'll be seeing you in court.
What? Court? Just for calling someone?
Because of you and your relatives, Maya's been hurt deeply. This isn't about just making some phone calls and about your graffiti. That's property damage. So her landlord has filed a victim report.
A victim report? He went to the police?
Of course he did. Even though he wrote on Maya's apartment, the landlord is the one who owns that apartment. Throwing raw eggs and writing on someone else's property is property damage through and through. We have security camera footage of you writing on her door, so you can't talk your way out of this one.
What?
And you and your relatives all called Maya's place of work. You told him to fire Maya and spread bad rumors about her. There are hundreds of prank calls and silent calls. This is an obstruction of business. So we'll be suing you for that too. And about you stalking me and ambushing me and sending me lewd photos and letters, I'll be suing you for stalking me.
Just wait a second. I can't believe you're trying to make all these charges against me. Are you planning on making your new fiancé a criminal?
Who are you referring to when you say new fiancé? My fiancé is and has always been Maya. I have nothing to do with a stalker named Rebecca.
What? Are you calling Rebecca a stalker?
Isn't that what she is? Sending me disgusting photos? And you said that this is a family problem. But what you did is still a crime. And you can be sued for it. Depending on what Maya wants, we can also have you detained.
Detained? I'm going to be arrested? We're going to be arrested?
Yes. About the property damage and obstruction of business, the victim in those cases isn't Maya but is her landlord and her company. So it falls outside of the scope of family problems. Her place of business and her landlord have no relation to you. You all may have thought that you were attacking Maya, but the victims are actually complete strangers.
No, that may be, but…
You're stalking me, it's the same. I still haven't legally married Maya, so we're complete strangers. I will be in charge of proceeding with the matters I've discussed with you today. You'll be served soon.
What? Wait a second. What do you mean you'll be in charge? What do you mean?
It's quite simple. I'm a lawyer.
What? A lawyer?
Yes, I represent Maya's company. And I've been hired by Maya and her landlord as well. I will be in charge of suing all of you. I'll be contacting you about all the charges formally tomorrow, so please stand by for that.
Wait, please wait, you have it all wrong. I don't have anything to do with this.
What do you mean you have nothing to do with this? You're the main perpetrator here.
I only did the things I did because I was ordered to. It was my husband's brother and his wife that said we should prank call Maya and her company. They said they wanted Maya to quit her job so she could take care of their son, Evan. My sister-in-law and all my other relatives were so keen on this plan, I couldn't go against them. All I did was make 1 or 2 calls like I was ordered to. I haven't done anything else. And it was Rebecca who sent you all those photos of herself. And it was my husband who wanted Rebecca to marry you in the first place. I didn't do any of this. So I have nothing to do with this.
You say you only made 1 or 2 calls, but about 25% of the calls made to Maya and her company were from you. How do you plan on explaining that?
Huh? How do you know that?
You want to know how I know that? Because as soon as Maya realized she was receiving prank calls from you, she recorded every phone call and wrote down who called at what time. So don't think you can lie your way out of this.
You have it all wrong. I only did this so everyone could be happy.
It's obvious Maya is not included in everyone. You're all awful people.
But, if we're convicted, it'll be bad for Maya. Are you okay with Maya being called a criminal's daughter?
I've already received Maya's go-ahead with all of this. She doesn't care what people around her think. And if anyone does, she can just tell them the whole story. We'll make sure they know that Maya did nothing wrong, so please don't worry. The only people going to hell will be you guys.
I can't believe this.
Next time I'll be speaking to you, it'll be in court. I'll make sure you all pay for this.
A few days later, Ryan sued my mom and all of my relatives who were involved. Because of all the evidence, we won our case easily. We sent my parents, my younger sister, my cousins, and his parents to jail. And my other 8 relatives were put on probation and had to pay a settlement. Now that my family and relatives have a record, everyone talked about them behind their backs. And they divorced each other, or moved far away, and are all living apart now. I guess it can't be helped since they did it all to make their precious daughter happy. For a while, this all had me really down. But after we won the trial, I started to slowly recover, and now I'm completely better. I married Ryan 1 year later, and we're really happy together.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.